it's like a big family. It's connecting, networking, and then working your ass off. It's something that we do from the moment we wake up until the moment we go to bed. There are no days off. Even when we're resting, we're still doing social media, answering emails, planning the next album, planning the next tour. So it's just a constant grind and just keeping it up. If you don't stop, you will find your people and you'll be able to grow and flourish.
Hello and welcome to Making Noise, the podcast where artists share the real stories behind the music. I'm your host, Ashley Smith. Today, we're diving into the world of sax riffs, sparkle, and pure high voltage energy because we're joined by Future Joy, the electronic duo turning joy into an actual music genre. Future Joy is made up of Emily Cooper and Zach Sims, real-life partners, newlyweds, and co-creators who blend saxophone, EDM, pop, indie, and a signature splash of whimsy into a sound that feels instantly alive. They've played everywhere from summer festivals to intimate club shows, and they've built a reputation for performances that are immersive, euphoric, and deeply connective. Their latest album now is shimmering, heartfelt, and big, a project that explores presence, transformation, and choosing joy in a world that often pulls us in every direction. It's music you feel in your chest. They're also creators, entrepreneurs, collaborators, and visionaries, and they're currently building out a brand new festival called Joyful, coming January 2026, which we're going to dive into. It's all about community, creativity, and celebrating musicians outside the mainstream structure. We're going to get into all of it, their sound, their story, the magic of blending art with their marriage, what it means to build a career on their own terms, and the future they're creating, quite literally, through Future Joy. So let's dive in. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today on Making Noise.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, I'm really excited. This is the first time I'm chatting with two people at one time, so we're going to do our best to navigate that. But I do really want to dive in to your backstory a little bit. You clearly have such an interesting style and very, very unique. But I want to know how you two came together as a musical duo. What came first, the relationship or the music?
Well, Future Joy started before I was in the picture.
I started the project in 2018, and Emily and I met in 2019 when I attended a karaoke night that she was hosting. I sang Rick James, Mary Jane, and she sang Amy Winehouse, Valerie. And then I invited her to come and sing with a different band I was playing with at the time, Jessica Jones Project. And Em knew of that band, and so she came to sing. And that was the next night. And then the night after that, I asked if I could take her out on a proper date. So music and dating kind of started at the same time. And shortly thereafter, September, October of 2019, we did a tour where it was where Em was just a feature. And we were kind of testing the waters and see how we liked it. And
I told him I wouldn't go Facebook official with him until we went on a tour together.
So if we could do a month in the van, then we could do anything. And then the end of 2019, she officially joined the group. And we've been off to the races ever since.
I would love to, I'm sure that you're going to have fans tuning in and listening, but for folks who are meeting you for the first time right now, how do you like to describe your sound?
We like to say that we're genre fluid because we hit on a bunch of different sounds, but we are dance focused. So we make electronic dance music. We play using CDJs. So we DJ while we're performing, but we hit elements of house, funk, bass, pop, and everywhere in between. Funk with a capital F-U-N. But it all is cohesive with our joy sound. It's uplifting, it's positive, it's fun. And if you don't like to dance, you will after we're done with you.
You guys have some really great videos on your YouTube channel showing, some of your live festival performances. Is that where you find you're really leaning into your energy? Is those live performances? Tell me a bit about how your music gets in front of listeners.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we are recording and releasing music, but we find the biggest reaction is from the live show. We did 25 music festivals this year. I think 75 shows total, and we were on a 7-month tour. So, I mean, we basically we were touring more than not. And yeah, that's where we're really connecting with our audience. And we find when people see us live, then they go and kind of dive into our repertoire and find the music after they've been exposed to it at a show. But we are seeing some reach, just from the music being released and people finding us that way, or social media videos and all that sort of stuff.
So you've definitely come a long way since you're like, can we make it on a tour bus for 1 month? Clearly, because it seems like this whole year has been jam-packed for you. Tell me a little bit more about that sort of festival life and how you make it sustainable as someone that's attending all of them and not just one or two.
Well, it is definitely a marathon and not a sprint. When we're on the road, we try and keep it as close to like daily life as we would. We're still going to the gym. We're still eating really healthy. It's not like we're on a vacation every day. We're just like no rules. We also are both sober. We tried the partying thing, and it's just not sustainable to be this as your career, partying every night. So that is something that I feel like our journey kind of took a leap to the next level when we were both just super present and healthy every day, remembering everything. And it definitely, sometimes it gets tough being traveling for 7 months in a row, but just getting back to those like daily routines of working out and eating healthy and trying to keep up our creation and making new songs is kind of helps us keep the train rolling.
That does seem like an easy trap for especially younger new artists to be able to. Talent is one thing, being able to make it as they go and show up and be present. I'm wondering about your creation process. You've clearly put out a new album. Are you writing while you're on the road? Are you coming up with new music while you're traveling?
Yeah, we find it's a little easier. Like when we're in the van driving, we find that if we can put on beats and just be singing and come up with melodies and lyrical ideas, that goes a little smoother than actually creating beats and the drums, bass, keys,
like
chords.
The backbones.
Yeah, so the backbone of the song is like, I find when we're home and stationary is easier time to try and crank that out. So I mean, even in yesterday I wrote 2 beats, today I tried to write a beat. And so it's like when we're home, if we can take those 3 months or 4 months and crank out whatever 20, 30 beats that we like, then when we're back in the car, we can just play those and sing along, and we kind of gravitate towards the ones we like. And then from, maybe 30 beats, we get 10 songs that are, a finished product. And then we take those onto the stage. And we found that when we take, what would probably be maybe 80 or 90% of a finished song and start playing it live, then we'll see things that we want to change. And sometimes we're like, oh, we like this section to go longer, or cut this thing out, or whatever, or lyrics change or melodies change. And then after playing it live, we're like, okay, we've played it at 5 or 10 shows. We really like, this is the song. Then we'll take it in the studio and we feel we're more comfortable with it, record the vocals, record sax, and send it off to get mixed. And then that's like the, finished product. And then we think it's cool too. There is something about when we just wrote a song and we say to a crowd, do you guys want to hear the song we just wrote in the van on the way here? And people seem to respond really well to that, rather than there's the other side of them knowing the song. And when we hear a crowd singing the lyrics to us, that is magical. So kind of finding that cool balance of here's a song and love, and you can see the crowd singing along. And then right after that, following it with a song they've never heard. And sometimes I'll make a joke. I'm like, we haven't even written this song. we're going to try something right now. And sometimes it's improvisational and sometimes it's an idea. And we're like, do you guys want to hear this thing that we just came up with? So
I love that. The dynamic nature of iteration, trial and error, seeing the response you get and how it feels, I'm sure, as you're performing. Yeah, so cool, you guys. I between the two of you, I always wonder with any groups that are performing together in the creation process, the writing and coming up with the style and energy that you want to put together. Are you both creatives? And clearly you are, but are you both leading creation together? Like, how do you ebb and flow between the two of you and the diverse backgrounds you might bring?
Yeah, it goes back and forth. Sometimes I'll write a song or melody on piano, and that's where we start. Sometimes Zach will write a beat, and that's where we start. Sometimes we were at a festival, and he was listening to a band we really like and got inspiration from that and wrote a song and whipped out his phone and put on a voice memo. So it kind of starts in any way, and we've all played different roles. Like I sometimes will start the beat, and we'll work on that. You have yet to write a song on piano, but we'll get there. But
well, I mean, I write I'm using a piano, but it's not like, I mean, I guess the one I wrote yesterday, I did chords, but I'm not very well versed in piano. So I'm like, looking up the chords I want to take, and I'm like, I have to figure them out, rather than that's my language. But with the saxophone, it is much more just like I can just start playing and things will come out. And then
sometimes I come up with a melody and we're like, oh, that should go on sax. And sometimes you come up with a melody on sax that you're like, oh, wait, but I want to sing a verse to that. So we ebb and flow. You just have to get used to working with someone creatively. And you also have to be used to like compromise and saying, oh, I don't like that. How about this? Or an idea that maybe you're attached to letting go of because the other person doesn't. So it's a lot of give and take, but we love working together. So we make it work.
It sounds like you've really found a place together where have aligned values and are approaching, touring at the very least with aligned vision of how you want to spend that time, which is so wonderful. But I am wondering, are one of you kind of the driver at all in terms of sort of the entrepreneurial side of your music business?
I literally do all the driving. So when it comes to the drive, other than one time when I got sick, our tour manager did a little driving, Em did a little driving, but I primarily enjoy driving. So I do the physical driving.
Yes.
And then
you do a little bit more of the driving, more
as far as the business, the business side and like the musical side. I mean, I guess I take it upon myself to try and write more of the beats. And then, but that's just kind of spitting out the idea, and then Em will help me arrange, and we kind of
we'll
do a team effort of getting it to a place where it's like, okay, this is a song, and then we always are writing melodies together.
And he's a little bit more business minded, but I stated all the time that I really want to be involved with the responses that we're doing in our emails about what our voice sounds like when we're making social media posts. So everything gets approved through me, but he does most of the writing of the business stuff. But I want my hands on it too. Sometimes I'll say, he's like, you want to read this contract? And I'll say, no, I trust you. But most of the time you're driving, but I get to approve.
And I think that's kind of like what we've seen too, is I'm good at like spitting out the idea and she's good at editing the idea for the most part. But I mean, like she said, I mean, sometimes things go both ways and there's no like set in stone formula. I mean, even today we were talking like these two songs I wrote yesterday were like a melody and a vocal had come to me that I recorded in my phone as a voice memo. And then those songs were like very easy to write. And I think in the past, I've written much more like writing a bass line or coming up with chords and building drums and all of that. And then we do the melody. And I was like, well, that was like way easier, but it was kind of like the melody came to me. So it's like, you can't really force inspiration, but you can force the beat making, So if I'm like, when we're home and I'm not necessarily feeling inspired, like today I sat down and started a beat. It's not, I mean, at least from...
Sounds great.
Yeah, at least it was something, but I wasn't like, oh, that's it, But these two songs I wrote yesterday, I was like, these are great ideas. And so there's something of that, like it came to me. You can't force inspiration, but you can force yourself to sit down and just do the stuff. We do a social media post every day. We do, like, we're checking our email numerous times a day, just certain things that I think some people either like they have a manager and the manager takes care of stuff, or, they're like, oh, I have my days off. Like, to me, I'm kind of like, there's no day off. I'm constantly thinking about it, to where I have to be put in check sometimes. And M's like, all right, it's midnight. Like, let's stop. But there's an email I'm like, yeah, an email came in. We have to respond. She's like, yeah, it's midnight. We can respond tomorrow.
I'm locked out for today.
Yeah.
So do tell me a little bit about that, though. I think, like, if there's an aspiring artist who's listening that wants to, in 2 years, their vision would be to live the year you just lived with all of these dates and festivals. How are you getting connected and finding your way, especially as folks who are driving the bus literally to make things happen? How are you finding you're able to get connected with the right type of festival, get on the list, and be part of these ecosystems?
I think it's just about how it is in almost any industry. It's about who you know and getting connected and being involved with the scene. We're both really big consumers of electronic music and of music in general. And so it's something that we love before we started creating. And how we kind of got started with this part of the journey, we were living in our RV full time. So I would say to aspiring artists, move in with your bandmates, get an RV and just start traveling. We got to Florida and we saw the sign for the Spirit of Sewanee Music Park, which is where they throw a bunch of big music festivals. And we posted up and we stayed there for a couple weeks. And there just happened to be a festival, the first one back after COVID. And we threw a renegade party off the back of our RV. We have a stage and we just started throwing parties for people, and we met all the promoters in Florida. We started getting connected with them. I think also we have like a unique sound. We have the sax and the female vocal, like kind of singing the melody and fronting the band, which I can't think of another female singer sax fronted band that does dance music. And so, and we have the uniqueness, but we also have like the fun. If you come to one of our parties, like, you're going to have fun. And that just started spreading throughout the campground, so much so then we started getting hired for the festivals. And these are all people that we've met, that we party with, that we go out with, that we go see concerts with. And it's like a big family. It's connecting, networking, and then working your ass off. It's something that we do from the moment we wake up until the moment we go to bed. There are no days off. Even when we're resting, we're still doing social media, answering emails, planning the next album, planning the next tour. So it's just a constant grind and just keeping it up. If you don't stop, you'll find your people and you'll be able to grow and flourish.
Tell me a little bit about Joyful.
Joyful was our festival that we threw this year on February 1st, and we got married at it. So our idea was to show our family the world that we live in, and not everyone wants to attend a music festival, so we said, oh, come to our wedding, and we just kind of made it one. So there were 200 invited guests, and then we had about 350 tickets sold, so 550 person wedding, and we had 7 artists on the bill. Some of our friends from Colorado, Las Vegas, New York, Florida. And we brought them out. It was an 8-hour event. Before the doors opened, we had like catering for the invited guests, and we got to have some time with just them. And then the event started. We had
fire performers. We had live art being painted. We had
Frick Frack Blackjack,
casino,
cashless casino, where you can bet anything but money. So that was fun shenanigans. You can bet what's in your pocket. You bet your watch. Some people, you can bet an eyebrow.
And so the vision was to have this be a yearly event. We wanted to start with our wedding, and then every year we'll celebrate our anniversary, and we want it to grow. This year we're just doing one day event again. It will be 4 p.m. to midnight. Is that also 8 hours? It's
doors open. Yeah, doors open at 4. It'll be
just
8 hours
minus the wedding. We figured the event went so well last year. Let's try and recreate that, and then just take all the added stress out of doing the wedding, even though it wasn't that stressful. It was really seamless. We had some really great people supporting us, and we're excited to watch it grow. We'd like to have it eventually be a camping festival with workshops and multiple days, and eventually open it up to other types of music too. But for right now, we're keeping it pretty electronic. There are some live electronic acts, but we don't have room on our stage for drums. So we'll get there eventually. But this year, the lineup is out. We're excited to have Maddie O'Neill doing her Madhouse set. We have Marvel Years. We have Sugar Nova, some local Florida acts, and it's going to be a really good time.
January 31st in St. Petersburg. You can use the discount code SAX for 10% off your tickets.
There you go. You heard it here first, everybody. I will make sure there's a link in the show notes so that way people can remind themselves the date, the location, how to get tickets, and that promo code. I really appreciate that. That's super nice, you guys. I love the innovation and the sort of creative entrepreneurial spirit, because you are really creating your own opportunities. But not only that, you're really creating your own ecosystem by doing this, which is so cool. And I think it's really interesting as we're leaving 2025, this music arena is changing so much, as AI is emerging, and especially when you're thinking about electronic music and what I guess AI may be able to do. I'm wondering how you're thinking about sort of the changing landscape, if at all, if you're thinking about how things are happening and how that impacts music and art and creativity for better or for worse.
Well,
it's an interesting thing that we're navigating.
I mean, the one thing that I think that we know is that it goes back to like where people are connecting with us the most is in the live setting. And an AI cannot blow a saxophone, and it cannot sing as sweetly as she can. We have seen in recorded music now there's this controversy, like maybe it is AI vocals or something. So, I mean, in the track, that is getting harder and harder to know. Like you hear a song and it just happened where we heard a song, we're like, oh, it's great. And they're like, oh yeah, it got pulled down because it's AI vocals and it was ripping off someone. So who knows about that? But in the live setting, it's like you can't fake that.
But it's just like a tool, like anything else, that we want to be able to take advantage of and use. So we've used AI not to write lyrics for a song, but for help. Or like you've got an idea, like let's build a little bit upon that, or let's get some inspiration or just some silly ideas. And the songs they write aren't very good yet. Maybe they will be, but ask them to write a song and take a little bit of an idea from there. Or, oh, that's a good rhyming scheme. Or they can use it to help us write a press release, or use it to help revise our bio.
And we use it to we have done in our Future Joy Flip series, we'll take a song and we use AI to take the vocals out of it, and then we'll sing a different song over it. So for example, we took a Skrillex song, Supersonic, and we took the vocals out using AI and then sang Steve Miller Band Fly Like an Eagle over it. It's like, in a way, I mean, there are ways that you could figure that out without AI, but for us, it just, it simplified the process. And if anything, it helped our own creativity. It wasn't like we were using AI creativity. We're using it to just take an element out of something. We're always open to the changing landscape and trying to be tapped into what's going on. But
it's a healthy take, I think, taking the bits and pieces of it that work. And especially for folks who are really building and doing a lot of the things for yourself, which you can clearly do. So I think kudos to you both. It's wonderful. And I would implore, in case I forget to mention it later, people, I want you to make sure to check out their YouTube and their Instagram and their socials, because their stuff is super fun. It's really engaging. Even your photos are it makes people want to learn more about you, and I think tune in. So I think it's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Speaking of social and community and taking sort of the experiential live stuff, how do you think about connecting with your fans and your audience in between shows?
We've been posting on social media every day for 5 years. So we're pretty good about that. Zach replies to every single comment. So if you ever want to talk to us, we read every single comment. Even when we had a video go viral this year, there was like thousands of comments and Zach replied to every single one, which sometimes will call out the haters. If someone is hating,
days.
Someone's hating on this video and Zach calls them out and is like, I didn't actually realize that you were a human behind this, you know. But we have a Patreon. We have a community group on.
We have a text list. You can text us. 303-529-2529.
Text us. We'll talk to you. Yes, it's really us.
And that's the same thing. People will be like, oh, I texted the number. I didn't realize like someone was going to respond. I'm like, yeah, it's me. It's just, it goes to our phone.
We'll wish you happy birthday if you sign up.
Yeah. And we keep people, you know, that's where we send out shows. It's cool because it's location based. So we can see, oh, there's 75 people in this area, and we can send them a text and say we're coming to your town for a show. We do ticket giveaways through that.
We have a group on Facebook called the Future Joy Heads, where our fans can get together and talk about where like-minded events are happening or where events in their part of the country are happening.
I mean, we're just pretty tapped in. I mean, and then at the shows, sometimes I'm working the merch table. So like people will walk up and be like, wait, you were just out here? I'm like, yeah. Hey, you want to buy something or you just want to chat? Like, what's up? So yeah, I mean, at least at this level, I mean, we did bring a tour manager for some like the last month of our tour, and that was extremely helpful, and it did make me realize like, oh, it is nice to not have to be standing behind the merch table. I can go warm up and do vocal warm-ups and sax warm-ups and do other things, but at least at this point, you know, we're pretty accessible.
Tell me a little bit about the album now. When did it come out, and how do you decide when you're ready to package that as one piece to deliver to your fans?
This was a point of interesting. This is an interesting point for us. Zach has done a lot of research and was kind of in the single mindset of saying that we don't need an album. We just need to push out singles every month. And I had to fight for this album.
Which I agree was a great idea.
He now sees the value of having a cohesive project.
And we got to press vinyl, which was awesome.
Snapshot in time. So it's the story of our love. It's the story of this journey that we've been on. It's the story of where we're at right now. It has inside jokes in there. It's all comes from like a place of like our love, our bond, our joy. And we wanted to call it now because sometimes we get stuck a little bit in the future because we're called future joy, but we know that this moment and all we ever have is right now. And so that's why this is like a big moment for us, a big step into this piece of art that tells the story of us. And we have it on vinyl. We are just so excited about it. It's our first full-length studio album that we wanted to present to the world that we feel really proud about. I think that before we've put some things out. We put out whatever he wants to put out.
It's probably too early to ask, but with having had that experience, are you thinking you'll probably do an album again?
Oh, of course.
I mean, yeah, I think we've kind of shifted into that being the mentality. I mean, basically from the beginning, it's
already in the works.
You just want to keep putting out singles to keep the algorithm happening on Spotify and all the other things. But in kind of how we had talked about, you know, building your own world and creating a snapshot in time, and like an album is just like a more cohesive project to show what you're doing rather than like singles. You can just throw singles out all the time and they don't have to link up in any way. I think we're happy with that, and we're in the process. It's almost finished for the remixes. So in early 26, we're going to split that into two parts because we've received a lot of remixes from some awesome producers, Megan Hamilton, Ghetto Blaster, a bunch of people. I think we have 21 or 22. So we decided to split it into two pieces. So that will be, you know, kind of giving more life to the Now album. And then, yeah, we're already in the works for the next project. We've got these are our cover ideas, but then, I mean, we've already got quite a few tunes.
That's a whole nother album.
Yeah, that's another album.
That is another album.
Yeah.
Call it Now and Then. Should the next album be called Then?
Then, or the dry erase board. So with that, it's kind of the same thing. It's like some of those are just ideas that will now, once the next time we're in the van or whatever, if we're around the house chilling, we'll start putting on beats and just singing along. Like, okay, this is great, or this one isn't something. So, I mean, if we have 15 beats, now I'm going to try and write another 15 here, or 20 or 30 in the next month and change that we're home. January, we're back on the road. Like from New Year's through January, we're on the road until Joyful, which is the 31st of January. So that'll be a lot of time in the van. Same thing, just writing melodies. And yeah, I mean, we're looking at hopefully having another album by the summer. This one came out July. So the remixes will come out early 26, and then who knows? I mean, summer or at least by the end of 26, we'll have the next project would be my guess.
You mentioned that that now really captures where you are, where you've been very, very recently, and talking like the story about your love and how and all of that. I am wondering though how you select which songs, because you have quite a repertoire, and so how do you select which songs come together? I mean, I'm an elder millennial, so I come from the era of like, packaged projects and CDs, and thinking about like how songs flow from one to the next, and even interludes, that sort of a thing where people used to think about the big picture rather than individual songs. So as you've shifted into this, how do you think about what songs to put together and to release together?
It's just kind of anything when you're creating is like putting piece by piece together. And we actually did we didn't actually have interludes, but at the end of some of the songs, there's like a little giggle section and silverware clanking, and we laugh at each other. Or there's like a little skit, a little bit of like a little silliness going on.
And then in one of the songs, there's like a phone call that happens in the middle of the song. There were a couple singles that got put out before we even were thinking about doing the album. And then I think when M was like, we really need to do an album, we were kind of like, oh, well, this, and this, like these 3 songs that we had already put out, we were like, those would really work in like, let's kind of start to use that as the base. And we had filmed music videos for them. So, I mean, When I'm With You, Coast to Coast, and Just Breathe. And so then that worked really well, because it's like, well, the singles from the album we've already put out, which you would normally do, but we just weren't thinking about it that way. And so it was like, okay, we're already promoting this album that we didn't even know was in the works. And then from that, we had a total of 5 singles come out, and then we had whatever it was, I mean, 8 more songs. Yeah, so 8 more songs that went on it. It just kind of happened. Like the singles were already out, and then we just found tunes that seemed to work. The ones that didn't fit on this one just got added to the list for the next one, and if they don't fit there, they'll just keep getting pushed off. But the cream rises to the top, and we focus on what's working. And yeah.
That's great. I love to hear it. And it's fun, I think. I'm hoping that people that are tuning in, especially the artists, to realize there's no real box anymore. Like you can kind of write your own rules and decide how you want to do things. And that's the beauty of the craziness that we're in in 2025, 2026. I would love to know, since you spend so much time on the road, do you have any sort of like favorite live moments that you've experienced while on tour, perhaps besides getting married? Because I feel like that's an easy one.
That was definitely a highlight. We don't ever like to say favorite, because then I feel like it isolates people. If they weren't there, they're like, oh, we're not their favorite. I think that every festival has like something unique about it and something that makes it special. Sometimes you really connect with an audience, or you just get really surprised by the energy in the room. And I think this year, some of the highlights, not favorites, just highlights, because every show is a favorite. We played Bonnaroo this year, and that was really amazing, really high energy, huge crowd, packed. We played Oregon Country Fair, has become one of a really high vibe experience for us. We played Joshua Tree Music Festival, which was really amazing. Every year, for the past 2 years, we've been playing twice in Greenfield, Massachusetts at the Wormtown festivals. They do Strange Creek in the spring and Wormtown in the fall. And we're actually going there in December for their holiday party. We found a really amazing community there. Secret Dreams was really amazing. Hulaween. We just played Hulaween. It was like the grand finale. It's the park I was telling you about, Spirit of the Swanee, and it's our home state of Florida. So we have a ton of friends and family. It was just like the perfect culmination of an amazing year, our best year yet.
And that we posted that full set. We got that filmed, and that's on our YouTube. And you can see that whole thing. We did a Toy Story theme, Joy Story. She was Woody. I was Buzz. We brought a bunch of toys on stage.
We really went to infinity and beyond.
We did. There was a sax in my boot.
There is definitely like a childlike nature to the fun that you're having. That's very clear, and I love that. I'm curious, were you both fairly musical kids? Like, Zach, you're playing sax. When did you start playing?
5th grade. So I guess 10 years old.
Then I started singing in 7th grade.
And did you carry, like, have you been leaning into music ever since? Did you ever stop, go corporate, and then decide, screw this, I'm doing music?
Yeah, I did. He didn't. He did music the whole time. I kind of stopped in college. I was in a couple choirs. There was a rapper I worked with in college. After college, it wasn't even like I was discouraged against music. It was just kind of like, okay, well, what are you going to do for your job? What are you going to do? So I got into advertising and video production. It was, I had big girl corporate job. And then I decided to move to Colorado and become a DJ. And that's when I started singing in bands and singing wedding bands. And then I never sang and DJ'd at the same time until I met Zach, and we kind of combined forces, like Captain Planet with our powers combined.
I actually watched that a lot as a kid. So
Me too.
I fully get that reference.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, and then I started, so I guess 5th grade, in middle school, I was playing in concert band and jazz band. In high school, I played in jazz band and started playing some bands with my friends, and that went into college. I was still playing music, and then I got a DJ gig at a club, like a residency, and I was like, oh, I'm making money playing music. So I dropped out of school, and I was playing in 3 bands, and I was DJing full time, and basically, I haven't stopped since then. Lucky enough, My parents were displeased that I dropped out of college, but all I ever wanted to do was play music, and I was going to college for philosophy, so that didn't make any sense.
That's fair. I can appreciate the your perspective. I can appreciate the parents' perspective. It's funny now that you're telling me a bit about your earlier days. Like jazz band is all, being in jazz is all improvisation, and a lot of what you guys do on stage, like you said, you're iterating, you're changing things up, you're trying new things, and there's a lot of parallels between something like being in jazz in a more traditional setting to what you do now. But like you said, you don't see a lot of your peers doing this kind of thing, which is wonderful for you. But it's interesting. It's interesting we don't see more sort of. I was a choir nerd too, so I'm allowed to say like choir nerds or band nerds, like kind of leaning in and getting into some of the stuff as they get older, at least in a more visible way. So anyways, it's very cool. I am wondering, Emily, is your like on the road, is it mostly men that you're traveling, like that you're seeing around? Like, do you have a lot of women that you're seeing at the festivals?
I feel like it's changing a little bit, and I don't know where statistics come from, but it seems like each year it gets a little bit better. But it's something that we're really mindful whenever we're curating a lineup, and sometimes it's hard that they're like. I think in Denver, I exhausted most of my female support on previous shows. And so we didn't have anyone for this upcoming show. But like for our lineup for Joyful, it's something I try to keep mindful of, just keeping as many women on there as I can. But it does get like a little like sausage party.
Broy backstage.
Even when we get a woman, if she's, an artist or if she's with an artist, it's just nice to have that female vibe sometime. Like I can always tell when a woman owns a venue because it's just very well thought out. There's mirror in the green room. There is like nice imagery. It just feels good. Not anything against men, but I do wish that there were more women involved. And I think that it's evolving. One of my favorite Instagrams and something I love to point out to people is this at Book More Women is the name of their handle. And they take flyer posters for festivals and they take out all the men. And so they leave just the women up, and it's kind of shocking to see like what percentage is of women. And they have this whole formula that they do to figure out who's in what band and what kind of women representation are, what the trans representation is, and they go by years. So you could see like Coachella this year, I think, has like 29% women, which is really good. Last year was 25, and the year before maybe it's 26. And so it's kind of fluctuating, but I think it's steadily growing. And I think it's something that more people are starting to think about. I always bring it up to promoters, and every time it's a male promoter, they're like, "Oh, I never thought about that."
Didn't think about that. Didn't occur to me.
Man. But sometimes you see these big tours getting announced with 0 women on them. Sometimes you see a big festival with very small representation of women. And I think it's something that it's good to open the conversation. It's a selling point for us. Our agent tells people all the time, you need more women on your festival. Book Future Joy.
And we tried to do it for the remix album. We wanted to have as many women as we could get on there. I think we reached out to maybe 8 or 10 producers, and I think we've got 4 or 5 that are going to be on there, at least between parts 1 and 2.
But yes, women, please join the music industry so I can have some more friends.
Straight up. And I mean, it's,
it's tough.
It's tough out there. I mean, M says all the time, she's like, I see why women aren't doing this. I'm like, well, that's why I drive. I try and make it a little easier for her so she can hang out in the back seat and rest up.
Around month 5, I was having it.
It's just rough out there. And I mean, we drive a lot, and we see a lot of our peers are now flying, and flying provides its own issues. You're sitting in an airport and then your flight gets delayed. It's just out of your hands, and you're doing late nights and then early flights and all that. It just gets really taxing. So, I mean, it's a hard business for anyone, but especially for women, I think.
I appreciate that. I think there's the different sides. There's the representation and the musical representation. And then there's also just the lived experience for the women who are there. And like yourself, Emily, like having those counterparts and those peers and the perspective. I'm looking at 2026. You've got a very busy January. So speaking about what we're just talking about now, like, do you see yourselves as doing the same kind of pace next year? How do you decide when to go hard and when to lay back and reset?
We're definitely trying to be more selective. Like, we basically said yes to everything this year, and we wanted to do as many festivals as we could, and we did it. We did 25 festivals this year, and I think next year we're trying to dial that back. We've already gotten the invite to a few big ones that we're very excited to be returning to, but we're not going to just be out on the road for 7 months. Like January, we go to Meow Wolf Santa Fe, we go to Durango Telluride in Denver, Colorado, we come back for St. Pete, and then there's nothing on the books for February. So, I mean, things might fill in, but it seems kind of like we're trying to maybe do a month out and then back for a few weeks, back out for a month, home for a few weeks.
And make more sense for our route. Be a little bit more intentional about why we're choosing to say yes or no to something, and really make it work for the route.
But also, I mean, things just happen. Like, we said yes to the first thing that we had on the books was Oregon Country Fair. And then we got booked in Connecticut like the week before it. And so we had to drive all the way across the country. And then right after that, the following weekend was Ohio.
Secret dream.
And it was like these 3 things that we really wanted to do, but it just meant we were literally driving across the country and then back all in a span of 2.5 weeks. So, going forward, we're just, we're going to have to assess that and be like, well, is this, do we cut this one thing out? Do we say yes to all these things? I don't know. I mean, I still kind of have that feeling of like, if someone offers us something, I'm like, well, I want to say yes. Why would we say no? But we're just seeing the kinds of events that work for us too, and where we're finding our people. And it's just like, you don't want to stereotype or make assumptions, but it's like after we've done a certain kind of event, you're like, and that's not really our people. You can't be sure, but it's like, oh, is it a music festival or is it a city festival? You know, these kind of things. Like, it's like, well, do we need to be tired and drive through the night to go play a city festival? Not necessarily, but will we drive through the night to go play Bonnaroo? Like, yes, absolutely. We're going to do whatever we need to do to make that happen. So,
sort of an probably inappropriate question, but I am
Let's hear
thinking,
it.
yeah. So like I'm thinking a lot about this next generation of artists and like how hard it is to commit to the craft as something that they can lean into for their career. And with travel being such an important part of what you're doing, the monetization basically of your art, like the cost of traveling, the cost of driving, the cost of staying places, you know, it's getting more and more expensive and streaming isn't paying and all of that. I'm not asking you for figures here, but how do you make the best of it? Is it mostly for getting in front of new audiences and building that fan base? Are you selling merch at these things and that helps make it all worth it? Like, can you give me just a general overview of how it makes sense financially and what's the upside, I guess, besides obviously you love doing it and all of that?
I think at first it did not make sense financially, but we've grown so much that we're doubling, if not tripling our rate every year, which then becomes sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, we sell merch. I mean, for most of our shows, we're making a certain amount and we're making that same amount in merch. And then obviously merch costs money to create, but you know, if we're doubling our income with merchandise sales, and then in all these different places, there's people walking around with shirts and hats that say Future Joy. So you hope that that's exponentially growing the fan base. And yeah, I mean, we see with it doubling every year, we're scraping by as it is, and we can at least live, and that's really all we need. But we can see the light through the tunnel, and soon enough, we'll start to put money in our savings account. So,
but you're still, even this year, you're spending a lot more money on ads. You're spending a lot more money online, and we're paying for visibility.
It's like we're in year 6 now, so it's like, you know, we're still kind of in our investing stage, is the way we're looking at it. So if we're breaking even, I mean, some shows we're taking the money that we're going to make and we're advertising that show. Like our Denver show, Joyful, we have a huge advertising budget for that because we just want it to be really successful. Then also, if you get the bodies there, they buy merch too.
Like for an aspiring touring artist, what I think I am hearing you say is like the first couple of years are a grind and they're going to be expensive. And then if you have traction, you really have to start thinking about your value and be thinking about what you're charging. Like you can't skip that. It seems you need to kind of take those steps. Yeah.
And it doesn't, even when it's like financially making more sense, it still is the same grind. It is grinding.
Yeah. And I mean, like our headline tour in September, October of this year, like because it was our headliner and we were promoting the new album, we were spending a lot on advertising it. But it was volume of shows. It's like when you do 18 or 20 shows all within a month period, it's like it's going to add up.
Yeah, no. I think it's helpful to talk about some of these things and to say them out loud, especially to the group of artists, because I think it's the type of thing people don't like to talk about. But
totally.
Right? I really appreciate you sharing that. And I also can appreciate that for you two, it's interesting because you now have your family on the road with you. You have each other, right?
Yay.
Whereas some folks are, you know, they are leaving behind family. And so that added stress, not to say what you're doing isn't stressful, because I'm sure there's lots of people you're missing while you're gone. How do you make the best of your time when you're home?
Well, we haven't got off the couch for the past 2 weeks. We watched a lot of movies. We went to the movies. I've been doing a lot of cooking because we don't have a kitchen on the road. Well, we have one in our RV, but it's not the same. We've been going to yoga. We've been going to the gym. I would like to go to the beach. We're going to go see Wicked this weekend. Oh my God.
I mean, it's like capitalizing on downtime. And now that it literally took 2 weeks before I even like wanted to think about music. And then yesterday I wrote 2 songs and today I wrote another one. So once we recover, then kind of getting back into the creative process. And I had a friend recently, Ghetto Blaster, who was doing the remix for one of our tracks. And he said the same thing. You just can't quit And he was like, if I was $25,000 in debt, I would just keep going because tomorrow I'm going to write that song that's going to make me 100,000 or whatever it is. Yeah, it's, the hardest thing of this business is just keeping it going. So as long as you don't give up, you've made it in that regard.
Do you have a preferred place to send your fans to listen to your music? Like, do you do Bandcamp? Do you do that sort of a thing? Or where do you like to send people?
Well, you can buy, we don't have a Bandcamp. I think one of our EPs is up on Bandcamp through a label, but you can
probably should.
I know,
That's like
right?
the best for artists.
But you can find us on Beatport, which is kind of more for DJs, but beatport.com is really good if you want to support us. Buy all of our music through that because they have a charting system. Like as your track gets more downloads, it gets pushed into these charts and then DJs see it and they buy it and then they start playing it. Because we're kind of in this interesting world of like DJ culture, like us playing live and playing our music live is cool. But then if some DJ plays our music live and everyone starts Shazamming it, that can help us grow when we're not there, when we're not playing the show. Someone else is playing the show. A few years ago, Dom Bresky was playing some of our music. Mark Farina's played it. Just recently, Claptone and Shiba-san downloaded the new track, which are just massive DJs playing internationally. And so if they start playing the music, it can take a life on its own in that way. So yeah, Beatport is big. If you want to buy the physical, you can get that just straight through our website, futurejoymusic.com. And we've got CDs and vinyl. Of the Now project, we have 5 other CDs listed on there of older stuff. Yeah, I think the vinyl is like the coolest one for us now. It's like if people want physical product, that is nice to have. We're also on like Amazon and iTunes. I think you can purchase music, but we're on all the things. If you stream us on Spotify, that helps too. That's a big metric for getting booked. Someone goes and looks at your Spotify. Oh, you have 10,000 monthly listeners. Like that's a big metric in today's culture. There's so much talk about hating on Spotify and stuff, but at least at this point, it's kind of a necessary thing. They got the biggest listener base. I think it's 50 or 60% of the market share of the whole world is on Spotify. So, to say that 60% of the world is listening on Spotify, it's like you can't not be there. So
that's a really good point though, because for you as live performers, having that metric it's validation and it's credibility. So that's huge. Every artist has their own thing, and that makes a lot of sense. We've talked about your upcoming festival, Joyful, and clearly you've got a bunch of shows and things booked for next year. Is there anything else for 2026 or the year ahead just generally that you're really excited about?
Well, now the remixes. Part 1 and part 2 is going to be sweet. I think we've gotten 19 or 20 of them back and they're just awesome. And it's really cool to see. We just give someone the pieces of our song and then they create a song from it. And it's like
Which also just doubled our inventory of songs that we can play live. So if we're going to play live, you don't know if you're going to get the original, this remix, that remix. It gives us just a whole another playing field of things that we can do for your live.
And then, working towards the next album. Already the shows that we've had booked, the festivals coming up, we know are going to be great.
And my brother's having a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations, brother.
Thanks.
Yeah, auntie.
You've already mentioned the YouTube, like posting that Hulaween set was really special, and to get that fully filmed. Sometimes it's hard to, like, we feel like our live show is where you really experience us. And sometimes it's hard to feel that through the video. But I think that Hulaween set is like pretty good representation. You can feel that and experience it as if you were there.
Yeah. If you're listening to these two and have never heard their music before, that might be a really great start to get a good sense of the vibe. So I will be putting links in the show notes to your channels, to your YouTube, to your website, to where you can find your new album and on vinyl. That's super cool. I love it. I really want to thank you two for coming on to the show and sharing your journey and being so thoughtful and transparent and talking about how you make it work. I love it. I'm so inspired by what you guys are doing. And I really do think there's going to be a fun couple years ahead for you guys and a lot of good things. I know I'm going to be tuning in more. I was listening earlier today as I was doing some work, and I was like feeling some real energy when I needed it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was really great chatting with you. Thanks for the thoughtful questions, and thanks for letting us share our story.
And where are you based? We got to throw a show.
Woo! Yeah, you do. It might take you a while. I'm in Vancouver, Canada, so
we'd love to come through.
Let's go.
Yes, I mean, you might want to come different time of year, but definitely,
yes,
if we're doing anything that's
I was gonna ask because you said process.
Oh, process. There you go.
Process.
That's where you're from.
That was the only word. I was like, oh, where's that? Where are we coming from?
We don't get called out as much on the West Coast for our accents, but yeah, sometimes. It rains here a lot. So it doesn't snow. People it's not snowy up here, but it rains a lot. So if we want to get some nice summer months, there are some really great outdoor venues to some great festivals here too. So I'll send you info on those. So when you have time and interest, you can come up north and hang out, and I can bring some friends on. We can have a really good time. So I want to thank you guys, and I want to thank the audience. For those listening, if you love the conversation, please do make sure to check out Future Joy's new album now. Dive into their world on social. Keep an eye out for their upcoming festival, Joyful, happening in 2026 January. I will make sure there's a link to that. And if you want to keep the music conversations going, please don't forget to subscribe to Making Noise on YouTube and anywhere you listen to podcasts. And we're launching on social, so you're going to see clips of these guys talking about their cool stories and future guests. So please tune into those. And thank you for supporting independent artists and for being a part of this growing community. Until next time, keep making noise.